Hey everyone, Dylan here. I wanted to hop on and do a trade recap video regarding the two trades that I took today. Today was an absolutely massive day for me. I netted $33,272 with just two trades. The biggest one was Nvidia, and then Facebook was a much smaller trade. But for all of the new members that have joined in the last week to 2 weeks, I used to do trade recap videos on every single day that I took a trade. I plan on resuming that. I stopped doing it because my computer had some technical difficulties, but hopefully I can, resume those videos from now on. So, before we get into the individual trades, I wanted to look at the bigger picture in the market. So, anyone and their mother can see that this is a clear uptrend. This is an ES chart, and then if we go to NQ, this as well is a clear uptrend. Both names are at all-time highs, right? We could clearly see, if I zoom out to freaking 2016, we could clearly see that both names are at the highs. So, that being said, my focus is on long setups. I am not interested in playing puts. In fact, I have not played puts in the last 3 months. Yes, you heard that right. The last 3 months, I have not played a single put position. Okay? I'm not saying puts can't make money. All I'm saying that calls and long setups are the higher quality play. Obviously, if you bought puts here and sold down here, you're going to make money. But like I said, calls and long setups are the better play in this environment. Okay? In this market sentiment, I would much rather play calls as opposed to puts. So, that being said, we can clearly see the uptrend, right? Think about it this way. If you ever tried to swim against the current, you would know how difficult that is, okay? On the other hand, if you try to swim with the current, it's much easier. It's effortless, in fact, okay? So that's the same here. When trading, if you try to fight the trend, it's going to be very difficult to sustain, right? To stay consistent. Whereas if you follow the trend, it's going to be much better and sustainable. So I always like to use that analogy because it's so true. So on top of that, and I mentioned it in the Discord, you could see here, the quarter ends in a few days. Fund managers will try to finish off strong. This usually results in bullish sentiment. So not every single time, but during my trading journey, I have realized and I have learned that at the end of each quarter, usually there is bullish sentiment. It's actually called window dressing. That's the term used for it. So we could see here, window dressing means it's a strategy used by mutual fund and other portfolio managers to improve the appearance of a fund's performance before presenting it to clients or shareholders. So, like I said, in other words, during the last few days leading up to the end of the quarter, you will usually tend to see bullish sentiment from these fund managers pushing value higher for their stocks, right? So I don't know how else to put that. So that being said, those three factors, one being the end of the quarter and two being ES at all-time highs, and then three being NQ at all-time highs, my focus today was playing a long setup. So that being said, I looked for a good, valid setup. Okay, that's where Nvidia came into play. So on Nvidia, same deal. It was trading near the highs. Okay, so Whereas if we look at AMD, which is in the same sector, you can see that AMD is nowhere near the highs. I guess you could say it's a little bit near the highs, but the all-time high for AMD was near 100, call it 99.2, and AMC is still about 13% off from the highs. So Nvidia has been trading with clear relative strength, when compared to other stocks in its sector, in the semiconductor sector. So Nvidia, came across, and I when I was charting it, and I'll show you exactly what I saw. So I posted this in the Discord. I posted the chart. We could see here, and I'll draw that again for you so you guys could get a bigger picture. So we can clearly see 3 areas of resistance. Okay, I'm going to draw these yellow lines. So at these yellow circles, not lines, circles, my fault, you could clearly see that price tried to get above 775 but failed to continue higher. That was because that there were sellers sitting at that level. So when there's more sellers than there are buyers, the price will go down. So when sellers were sitting at this pink level at 775-ish, they prevented price from moving higher. So what I was looking for is a strong breakout through 775 backed up with momentum. And that's exactly what we got today. Okay? So right before the market opened, literally 13 seconds before the market opened, I said, I will be watching Nvidia above 775, when the market opens. Risky playing the open, but just letting y'all know. So I wanted to make it clear that this was my main setup, right? In pre-market plan, I gave you guys 4 levels. Nvidia 775 was the top one. It was the main one. Okay, so going into the open, I literally pressed enter to post this at 9:29 with freaking 47 seconds into 9:29. So there was only 13 seconds left when I pressed enter, and I was like, holy shit, I gotta start paying attention. So I wanted to make it clear that this was my main setup. So let's go to an intraday chart. You know what? I'm shaky right now because this is my first Jesus Christ. This is my first fucking recording in the last 2 weeks, so I got to get used to this again. So on top of this resistance and on top of being at new all-time highs, there was also bullish price price action, right? So we could see here that there was higher lows for Nvidia, right? So each dip was bought. That's another bullish sign that I saw. So 3 confirmations, right? Just in this individual stock, there was a 775 resistance. There was bullish price action, right? Higher lows on the short-term basis. Number 3 was all-time highs, and then, like I said, window dressing, ES at all-time highs, and NQ at all-time highs. There were literally several confirmations for this one play. And when there's several confirmations like that, I'm able to size up. And I told you guys last week in the Discord that I was planning on sizing up because I've been making money on every single trade. So I'm 28 for 28. The last 28 trades I have made money on. This is my longest streak since day one. So in my whole trading journey, this is the longest streak that I've ever had. So I was feeling comfortable to size up. All right, now let's go to an intraday. So you can see here, I'm going to go to a 1-minute chart. I don't look at the 1-minute chart, but just for the sake of you guys seeing this, I'll show you. So the first 1 minute is when Nvidia broke over 775. So this shit happened very quick, okay? So I entered the weekly 780 strike calls at $11 on the premium, okay? I tried to enter at $10.50, but I missed. And literally, it happened too quick that I couldn't even cancel the $10.50 order. Instead, I just immediately got a new order and bought the ask. Okay? Literally happened within the first 30 seconds of the market. So I tried buying at $10.50, missed it, and then a millisecond later, I did another order for $11. So, I got that one. So, another thing that happened, because it all happened too quick. Like I said, I was trying to text into the Discord to tell you guys that my main focus was Nvidia, and then it came to the point where the market was opening in 13 seconds, and I was like, holy shit, I got to get ready. So I pulled up the 780 strike calls, and I executed 50 contracts at $11. So up until this week, I was using between like $8,000 to $12,000 in premium. The trade today was $55,000 in premium. That's way too much for me. And because it happened so quick, I wasn't really too focused on what I was doing with the order execution. Obviously, I manually typed in 50 contracts, but I wasn't aware of the size until about 4 minutes later. I was up $12,000, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, how the fuck am I up $12,000 in a few minutes? And then I realized that I was playing with $55,000. So essentially, immediately, I took off half. I took 25 contracts off at $14 very quickly. The reason I did that is because as soon as I saw that I was playing with $55,000, my emotions escalated, right? When my emotions escalated, I had to reevaluate and size down, right? And that's just human psychology, right? So anyone that trades knows that once your emotions escalate, that is not a good thing, right? So, I took that upon myself, and I was able to size down to half the amount of contracts because I knew that if I stayed in 50, my emotions would have taken the trade for me as opposed to, me trading without emotions. So the whole goal of trading is not to make money. It's to be able to trade without emotions. Once you can trade without emotions, once you succeed in doing so, that's when the money will follow. So if you guys that are just starting out or, in your first year of trading, if you guys are focused on the money, I promise you, you will not succeed. And I hate to be, negative and I don't want to ruin your, I don't want to make you self-discouraged, I guess the word is, but just know that if you focus on the money, you will not succeed. Instead, you have to focus on trading without emotions. I see all the time, I get DMs from members saying, yo, I just made the most I've ever made. Like, this trading stuff is working out. Like, I'm really getting the hang of it. And I say to them, listen, just because you made a certain amount of money doesn't mean you are ready. It's as simple as that. So like I said, the goal is not to make money when you're first starting out. Do not focus on the money. Your focus should be on trading without emotions. Okay? It's so, so, so important. So like I said, once I realized that I was in the trade for $55,000, I was like, holy shit, I got to size down. So I took off 25 contracts at $14. So my entry was 775, which is this teal level. My stop loss was a break below 771.5. The reason for this is because, here, I'll draw a level, 771.5. Okay, you could see here that this 771.5 was acting as some resistance, and then it broke out and was able to continue higher. So this was a level in pre-market, and it was tight enough for the trade to make sense. So stop loss, I get questions about stop losses all the time. Stop losses are very tough to educate people on because everyone's stop losses are different, right? So every trader has different risk tolerances. My stop losses might not work for you because they might be too wide, and vice versa. Maybe your stop losses are wider than mine. So just because this is my stop loss doesn't mean that it can be yours as well. So that's why it's a really tough subject to educate people on, because it's different for everyone. But the stop loss has to make sense. So the reason that this made sense for me is because it was acting as resistance in pre-market, so it was somewhat important, and it was tight enough that I wouldn't have lost a significant amount, and it gave the trade room to breathe. So if Nvidia failed to move over 775 in the first place and then pulled back a bit, I was giving the trade enough room to breathe. So that was my stop loss. I know a lot of members wanted me to start talking about stop losses, but like I said, it's tough because everyone's is different. So my main target, my final target was $800. And that's why I was scaling out very slowly, because I wanted to make sure that I had a few contracts left for when Nvidia got to 800. So it was a huge, massive move, $25, move to hit my target. But like I said, I made sure that I was progressively scaling out on the way up. So I posted all of my exits in the chat. I'm not going to bore you guys and read them on this video, but I just wanted to, talk about how simple my strategy is, right? So I posted this in the chat, and a few members did not like it, and I apologize for that, but I'm gonna talk about what I meant. So I said this, right? I said anyone and their mother could have found that Nvidia setup. I always say it, my strategy can be taught to a 5-year-old. So I had some DMs from people saying like, yo, like I'm really struggling, like that post discouraged me. So the reason I said that, right? I'm gonna go to a naked chart. All right, let's go to a naked chart, right? So if you sat down your 5-year-old and told them to draw a level with a crayon, to draw like a freaking line, a horizontal line with a crayon on where price was rejected a few times, chances are they're going to take that horizontal line and draw it somewhere near 775, because like look, right? 1, 2, 3, a little bit of 4, right? Call it right there. They're going to draw the level there. If you said, like I said, if you said that you wanted them to find a level where price rejected, anyone can find that level. Like I said, that's not hard, right? Show your mom, show your dad, show your grandma, show your uncle, your freaking neighbor. Anyone can find that level. That's not the hard part. The hard part is actually executing the trade, following your plan, and that's it, right? Executing the trade and obeying the plan. That's the fucking hard part. Okay, so my analysis is very, very, very fucking easy. I told you guys, ES at all-time highs, NQ at all-time highs, the quarter was ending, freaking Nvidia had this 775 resistance level that it failed at 3 times prior, it was making higher lows. There's no fucking indicators. There's no algorithms. There's nothing else beyond that. Anyone can do this. The hard part comes when you execute, okay? And that's where the emotions come into play, okay? You have to commit. If you have a plan, you have to commit. That's and I try to freaking put this into everyone's head, but it's easier said than done, and I get that. It took me over 2 years to realize, to be able to do this on a consistent basis. 2 years, not 2 months, not 4 months, not 10 months. 2 years it took. Obviously, everyone has a different learning curve. That doesn't mean it's going to take you guys 2 years. But I just want you guys to understand that there's no reason to overcomplicate trading. It's as simple as that, okay? You must trust your setups. Trust, confidence, commitment. That's all. And patience, right? Patience, trust, confidence, and commitment. Those are the main 4 things, the main 4 characteristics that every trader should have. Because without commitment, you could have the best fucking setup, but if you don't commit and execute, what the fuck? Like, what's the point of it? It's just sitting there in front of you. And that's another thing. A lot of people messaged me saying, yo, I was watching 775, but I hesitated. The reason you're hesitating is because you're lacking confidence. Okay? It's as simple as that. And obviously, I had that same problem during my first 2 years of trading. I always hesitated because I was lacking the confidence. But the biggest thing to do in order to prevent that is to size down. And I've talked about this a few different times in the chat. There was a span of around 8 months where I sized down. Right, I'm talking 1 contract per play. I was only making about it was around $30 to $70 a day. I could fucking care less about the money. I did not focus on the money. My main objective was to be able to trade without emotions. Okay? Like I said, if you focus on the money, you're fucked. It's as simple as that. Excuse my language, but I'm just being real with you guys. I want everyone in this chat to be able to succeed. So I'm trying my best to really, really, really drill these thoughts into your head. So what I did to prevent myself from hesitating was size down, because sizing down was the only way I was able to, get rid of the emotions. Once I got rid of the emotions, that is when the money followed. I slowly, progressively added to my size. I went from 1 contract to 2 contracts to 3 contracts. Next thing you know, I was playing 20, I was playing 30, I was playing 50, I was playing 100 at a time at one point. And that's really what it comes down to. It's those small baby steps. If you rush into trading, it's not going to work. You might get lucky here and there. I promise you that. You might get lucky. Maybe you'll have a lucky month. But if you rush into the process, I promise you, you will get annihilated. It will come one day or another. And like I said, I don't want to say this to discourage you guys. I'm just being real, because what happened to me, I blew 2 accounts when I first started. It was preventable. And I fucking wish someone told me what I'm telling you guys right now when I first started. Oh my God, what I would do to hear this speech 3 or 4 years ago. I would have paid $5,000 to hear this advice. I would have paid fucking $14,000 to hear this advice. Because that's how much I lost when I blew the 2 accounts. And I was a college student, didn't really have much money, so that was a lot of money at the time. So, I know I'm ranting on and on and on, but it's so fucking important what I'm saying right now. And like I said, I want all of you guys to succeed. Let's get into the Facebook trade really quick. I played this. It was smaller towards the end of the game, or towards the end of the day. You could see here that Facebook ripped for, at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. News came out. The news was let's see, yeah. A judge dismissed the FTC antitrust suit, whatever the hell that means. Obviously, market participants thought that was bullish, so they drove price higher. I entered right here on this candle, so I missed this move here because I was away from my screens. And like I said, it's tough to catch breaking news because obviously no one's expecting it. So unless you're looking at your screens, you're probably not going to catch it. So I started looking at Facebook on this candle here. So I missed the initial move. The reason I entered on this candle here is because it pulled back, and I like these lower wicks. These lower wicks showed me that buyers were stepping in to buy the dip, right? This lower wick here and then this lower wick here. So I entered right there. It was a smaller trade. I got into 30 contracts at $3.06 on the weekly 360 calls. And then I sold 10 at 450, I believe, on this candle here. And then I sold the other 10 or the other 20 for a 20-cent gain. So, or no, it was actually 29-cent gain. So this trade here netted $1,976. So it was decent, but I was expecting a further move towards like 360, 365. But that's about it. I'm gonna cut it there. This video is 27 minutes long. Like I said, I wanted to really focus on the emotion and the mindset side of trading in this video, because that's really what it comes down to. Like I said, you could have the best strategy, you could have the best executions, but if you lack that emotion side of trading, it's not for you. All right, so that's a fucking promise. So that's about it. I'm gonna cut it there, and if you guys liked it, please drop a follow or subscribe, whatever the hell it's called. Please drop a like, and that's about it. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.